Hi, everybody. I'm Yonda Ye, and I'm so glad that you're here this evening. I did a presentation for you all, and I was going to share that presentation with you all. So I'm just going to give a link to it at the end of this presentation. And I have my handy dandy notes in front of me. And the presentation is called Career Change Guide. So this is something that you're able to use and leverage as you're looking at changing careers, how to get started, and the 5 actions you should take. So let me go here and let me get ready for my presenter. And I'm Yonda Ye. I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, and I'm a partner. I've been doing time management, business, as well as real estate for, it seems like forever, at least for 20 years. I have helped people from a leadership development standpoint to really grow and to leverage and to live their goals and their dreams. So whether it's through accountability, whether it's through leadership development, really helping people to hone in their skills and challenge themselves, grow, and get the career that they've always wanted. And that's why I felt like tonight was so important to spend some time going over this presentation. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. And when we think about the career change guide, it's going to be strategies, especially when you think about inflation and high inflation. So I'm the CEO of Everything Metaverses, so I believe in the digital transformation and what's taking place. And I believe that you have a presence that you can command for the future of this digital transformation. It may take some additional skill sets that you need to brush up on. It may take some additional learning and education, but learning is like lifelong. So we're going to be here for just under an hour. And in this time frame, we're going to talk through some critical points. One, as I get started into the content, evaluate your skills and new opportunity. I remember when I was changing careers, and I've helped people who have changed careers. And one of the exercises as a coach, and this is a freebie, right, that you want to do is if you're thinking about changing careers, you want to change careers, you want to get into your ideal situation, I want you to take a minute and I want you to write down all the jobs that you've had. So I need you to take out a piece of paper, I need you to take out an ink pen or a pencil and write down every single job you've ever had first. The second thing I want you to do next to each job is write down what exactly you did. You can include your title, but you can also include the skills, whether they're hard skills or soft skills. So for instance, I have a 15-year career in retail. Part of retail sales, so in specialty as well as in niche sales, as well as in retail, with big box operations, as well as real estate. So when you start to think about sales, what are some things that you do in sales, for example? So whether you do leadership development, whether you do performance improvement, whether you do performance evaluation, you do coaching, you do, let me think what else. You do profit and loss statements. You do performance where you're forecasting what your sales will be in the future and how you're going to drive those executional points. You want to make sure that you spend some time really evaluating what you've done in your career. You want to write them down with the type of jobs that you've done, but also you want to write what exactly you liked, what you didn't like. And that's an example of evaluate your old skills. Now I want you to evaluate your skills for new opportunities. I remember deciding I wanted to get into artificial intelligence, AI. So I said, okay, I think I know about AI in 2022. So I needed to gain some additional skills. So I went to class, I went to school, and I learned digital marketing. So part of digital marketing, I transitioned into dealing with 4K AI bots. So that really was about building the logic and the communication and doing like a lead generation funnel, leveraging AI. I did that for a while and then I created virtual agents in 2022 and I partnered in a real estate transaction with a very reputable company. So I needed to understand how to program AI. I needed to understand what logic was all about because I'm like, okay, from the fields that I've done in the past, and like many of you, if you look at your career in the past, how does this translate to something that's going to be something you can do for the future, right? And what you'll find is what's called transferable skills. So just because you're in sales, in retail, you're in automotive, you're in real estate, hospitality, and I'm just naming out some careers, right? Healthcare, supply chain, materials management, logistics. If those are all fields, categories. Now, those transferable skills, do you have customer service skills? Yeah, that's a transferable skill because it's transfer because each industry or categories that I just discussed with you, you're able to take those in every single, you're able to do those, take those in every single category that I just named. So it's important to look at your new opportunities. So evaluate your skills with new opportunities. If you decide this is a great time for you to come out and run your own company, be a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, then again, evaluate this is what I've done. This is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. This is some education I still need. And then you find your mentor, you find your partner, you find a coach that'll help you with your goals. Identify skills that's in high demand. So in this point, I want you to be strategic. So I just talked about AI a little bit. That's in high demand. I believe finance is in high demand. Real estate, I believe, is in high demand. And those are just, and then the tech industry, oh my goodness, it's hot out there. Like, it is fantastic. There are tons of opportunities out there, but you have to position. And we're going to talk about what it means to position in order to take these actions. So I hope that you're taking notes on these 5 steps. Now, 5 actions, excuse me. So those 5 actions, the first one is take your skills. Take a sheet of paper, write down every job that you've had, write down every competency is what is it discusses your competencies that you've done in those particular roles, in addition to the skills that you did in those particular roles. I want you to do that. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to think about these new opportunities and these new opportunities that interest you so that you can position yourself so that you're able to take command of these opportunities that are going to present and be in the best position possible. Now, when you think about it, when I talked about profit and loss statements, that's really big in managing a budget, especially when what I say, your name is on that profit and loss statement. When your name is on that profit and loss statement, you have this budget, your budget is made for the year, and you have to deliver to that budget. That, and then depending upon if how far out you budget, you have to forecast the activities that are going to generate that budget. I hope this all makes sense for y'all, and I welcome any of your comments, your feedback. Just thank y'all so much for tuning in, by the way. Again, I'm Yanda Ye. So the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is change is happening all around us. So anticipating the change is like peeking around corners. Change is constant. Change is always happening. And that was by Yanda Ye, by the way. So because you're peeking around corners, you're anticipating what the needs are going to be. That's why I tell you the third thing is focus on those high demand opportunities out there. And we talked about a few of them that's high demand out there. We talked about finance. We talked about, I want to throw in banking, I want to throw in real estate. We talked about artificial intelligence, and we talked about tech. So we named about 5 opportunities that are out there that are pretty hot right now. And you have an opportunity to peek around the corners and figure out the next point, which is strategic network for your career. So what does it mean to strategically network in your career? So expand your network, connect with industry professionals regularly. So like here on X and like on YouTube, people have posts, people have videos, people have live stream. Engage with them. I think the number one question that I encourage people to ask is, what help do you need? What support can I offer you? And you'll be surprised at the feedback that you'll get when you ask a simple yet powerful question as to what help do you need? How can I support you? And it opens up that two-way dialogue and communication. So, and if they say nothing, you move on to the next person. Networking is something that you want to get used to doing because it's something that really helps to bond these relationships, but also you get to meet new people. So maybe it's a no today, but maybe tomorrow it's a yes, or maybe it's a yes today and you're like, hey, pat on the back, I did it. I asked the question, I got on my shell and I started to network by asking the number one question that I think is very, very important. And I gave you the number 2 question I think is very important in networking. Leverage social media and showcase your skills. It's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to leave a legacy and show people exactly what your expertise is. If it's speaking, if it's singing, if it's writing, if it's leading, show that you are familiar with the industry, that you stay abreast of the content and current trends and challenges that are out there, and even help by hosting live streams like this one. And being able to host these live streams, you're able to actually tap into a different audience. So I'm going to highly, highly, highly encourage you to get comfortable out there networking, but also connecting on social media. One of the things that I'm going to invite you to at the end of this presentation is participating in communities. Communities help to kind of break the ice. You get the opportunity to meet people from all walks of life. And now social media is global. So you have the opportunity to meet people from all over the world. And so you may be relocatable. You might decide, you know what, I'm not just staying in my jurisdiction, but I'm willing to travel and work and commute and network in other jurisdictions as well, regionalized jurisdictions as well. You have to understand what you're looking for, why you're looking for it, and get out there and network. I've had some of the best networking on X and YouTube. I tell y'all, I was so happy last week, by the way, increased 3 followers. So, I mean, you just have to celebrate and be grateful for the connections that you're making. Send those thank yous, send those follow ups. And then there's different communities that you join based on your interests. So, I'm going to share that with you. So, um, at the end of this presentation, I'm going to invite you to my communities, okay? And just, send me a note, let me know, hey, you invited me to the communities, because I keep my communities locked. I don't have open communities. So that's another thing when you're looking at social media communities to join. Some are open and some are private. And so you just have to, maybe if they have questions like the rules of how you engage in the community, then you need to be abreast of those. Sign off on those, that you're going to adhere to it, and then you move on. So I hope you find this helpful, because I love coming on here and helping to spark inside of you why this matters, what actions to take when you're considering that career change, and it's important. I hope you share this information as well at the end. The job market overview today. When you look at inflation, it affects the opportunities. So one of the examples I use for inflation, one time I took $20 and USD. And I took that $20 and I went to the grocery store. Now, $20 used to last me a lot when I went to the grocery store. Well, I can tell you now that $20, I might get 3 things in my basket. And and I understand though. I understand the inflation. I understand the cost of doing business. And so that cost of doing business is passed to consumers, right? Depending upon, you have transportation costs, you have production costs, you have procurement costs, you have how you're going to sell it, buy it, all these different costs, and there's more to this. So I understand the inflation and I get it. So understanding that affects the opportunities that's currently out there is when you start to look at inflation, because, some companies are publicly traded, some companies are privately traded, and it's very important, not traded, but privately held. So it's important to understand stakeholders and stakeholders' returns and et cetera, et cetera. So this is a presentation. I don't want you to make any critical decisions for your life without first doing your own research, your own due diligence. This is not legal. This is not financial advice. This is advice from a coach, a mentor, and a partner that's helping you to take 5 actions if you're considering this career change. You have to be the gatekeeper to what exactly that career change is going to be. Trends. So when you start to look at market shifts, our evidence of trends. Like I just talked about artificial intelligence and the impact that AI is having on myself, as well as businesses, as well as you. So if you haven't picked up and learned artificial intelligence, learn anything about it, it's all over the place. It's even in your browsers when you're on the internet. So just talk to AI or write in AI if you feel comfortable in doing so, and just get started. Learn artificial intelligence. And what's nice about being on X as well as on YouTube, right? X has Grok. So if you haven't used Grok, I think it's very entertaining. It has different settings. It does art. So you have an opportunity to really engage with artificial intelligence on X. So spend some time doing that as well. I remember, here's an example of a prompt that you can give X. Prompting is really big when you start to get into artificial intelligence. So I said to Grok, I'm like, okay, draw a picture of me. And that was it. Or write my bio of Yonda Ye. It actually, I mean, literally, Grok was like, and wrote this wonderful bio. I was like, who? Yes, me. So I'm going to encourage each of you to take this exercise on and ask your artificial intelligence, whoever you're using, if you're using Bing, if you're using Microsoft, if you're using X, if you're using YouTube, ask your AI to write you a bio. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with. It's a fun exercise, and I think, and give me some feedback. I would love to hear your discovery. So send it to me in my DMs, connect with me, put it in the community. This will be fun. Current inflation rates. Inflation impacts income stability. And this is very important for you to understand, because you have to do less with more or more with less, depending upon how you're looking at this, right? And it's going to be so important as you're establishing your goals, because that's one of the things I have a timeline for you that I'm share with you regarding your financials for the inflation and surviving what's taking place. So, smart steps to your career change. Number one, create a budget. Assess your expenses and your income and creating your budget. So every year I get together and I have to create my budget. As a real estate agent, I have a profit and loss statement. It's important when I'm creating that budget, looking at top line sales and looking at all the expenses underneath. So if I'm subscribing, if I'm paying for memberships, if I am taking clients out, if I'm doing, all of those are expenses that I have to predict. I have to be prepared for. I can't just let expenses creep up on me and not have a plan. And that's what today is about, is having a plan for yourself. These 5 actions for your career change. So creating your budget is very important, because you get to assess how much income you have coming in and how much you have going out. And that's your expenses and your income. And from that, that'll draw a clear picture for you, if some people, how you move forward in your financial matters. The second thing I'm going to tell you is build an emergency fund. So aim for 3 to 6 months of expenses. 3 to 6 months of expenses. So if you think about, you have a car payment, for example, you have a house note, or you have rents, you have insurance that you have to pay on both of those assets, you have utilities, you have food, you have entertainment. And I could just go on and go on and go on, and I can line item, because it's surprising to me when I start building my budget. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that. My cell phone bill. How did I forget that? But that's just an example of, when you're building that emergency fund, it's so important to get a snapshot of your monthly expenses, because that'll let you know how much income you have from your monthly expenses. The next thing, third thing, is to invest in yourself. Consider taking courses to enhance your skills. Consider having a coach to kind of walk you and guide you through if it's a career or you're transitioning into a career that you don't have much experience in. You don't necessarily know how to really gain traction in, then having a coach is important. That coach really helps you to take the necessary steps so that your confidence continue to build as you're entering into a career change. Having a mentor. That mentor is so important because it's important to have somebody that you can bounce ideas off on. It's so important to talk about, okay, I had this to taking place and this happened and I want to understand the best way to approach it. How would you have approached it, right? This is how I decided to approach it. And then you're able to kind of go through what worked and what didn't work. But having that mentor and having more than one is very important. And a lot of you that's watching are probably one of my mentors because I can learn from anybody. I can learn what to do. I can learn what not to do. And I thank you all for tuning in. It really means a lot to me. I am so grateful to each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all so much. And again, investing in yourself, whether it's partnering with somebody. So guess what? I have this idea. This is what I'm thinking about. Here's my business plan. Here's my marketing plan. Here's my vision statement. Here's my mission statement. Here's my value statement. Here's my goal statement. I just write it down really quick, right? And those are all things that you want to think about when you're partnering with others. And it's just a matter of sharing kind of as you grow together. Some industries you might enter into it and you may not have all the skills or all the knowledge, but you're going to grow into that role. That's why it's so important to have a coach. It's important to have a mentor, and it's important to understand the needs that you have for yourself, the goals that you have for yourself, the wants that you have for yourself, and what you're doing. The last thing is research new opportunities, explore industries that are growing demand. If you have an interest in being a part of technology, then look at some of the courses that are out there. Look at some of the podcasts that are like podcasts, live stream, attending social audio listening, like here on X, they have spaces, YouTube University. There's so much that you can learn from being a part of researching these opportunities and saying, okay, if I'm doing a career change or a pivot, this is the direction I'm headed. I need to have some solid mentors that I can talk with, that can guide me, that can help me. And so, on social media, people will give you their opinion. People will share with you their thoughts. Hey, you didn't do this well. You did this well. I like this. Keep doing this. And it's just a matter of asking for the help that you need, especially when you're considering a career change. You don't know what you don't know. And so many people have already went through those charted territories. And all you have to do is ask sometimes or pay sometimes, just depending upon what those needs are. Okay. All right. So I think Ayo, hello. How are you? Thank you for tuning in from YouTube. I appreciate you and your engagement. All right. So the next thing that I want to discuss with you is follow me and subscribe today to me. Join my communities. I have 3 communities. I have a community here on Twitter X. I also have a community on LinkedIn, and I also have a community on Facebook. So currently I have just under, I don't know, there's several thousands of followers, and I thank each and every one of them for following me. I appreciate them finding value in my content, and I'm excited about those opportunities. I'm going to also leave some QR codes for you for Metaverse. So I love Metaverse. I also have some social media stuff that I do as well. So make sure we connect because the sky's the limit, what we can learn from each other. I do vision boarding, which I'm going to add here. And the vision boarding helps you to stay focused for your life, for business, and for relationships. Here's where you can find some of my community platforms. So afterwards, what happens is everything that I'm hitting on, there will be a link directly for you to be able to follow me. So all you have to do is go to the rebroadcast and you'll see those links. You'll click on it and you'll be able to meet me on the social media platforms as well. And I thank y'all so much for your time today. I can't stress enough. So this presentation will be available. I would ask that you send me a DM if you would like a copy of this presentation, so that it is a PowerPoint presentation. So thank y'all so much. I hope that you found this helpful. I love